We need to talk about this Netflix show that premiered. It came out yesterday, and I've already watched 10-hour episodes. It is
Take two.
it is an amazing show, and so Cody, what do you know about Daybreak other than what I told you?
I know it's a show on Netflix called Daybreak.
Okay, exactly what I knew when it popped up on my Netflix feed.
But
I
I don't know if it's based off of like a property
It's not
or
based off of any property. It is a original Netflix show that if I had to describe it, I would describe it as Ferris Bueller meets Zombieland.
okay.
Um, so literally first episode goes off, and the main character is in a classroom, teacher's doing attendance, and his name is Josh Wheeler. And he's like, and the teacher literally goes, Wheeler? Wheeler? And he literally turns around and looks at the camera and is like, so, we gotta talk about some things. And this is how he narrates. And I love the way they do this. He's breaking the fourth wall and he's talking directly to you the whole show. Well, not the whole show, but he's talking to you. But how he jumps back to the flashbacks from the post-apocalyptic thing. So basically, the premise is this: nukes were dropped on America, okay?
As they are.
But it was a biochemical nuke that made all of the adults basically zombies in a way, what they call ghoulies, okay? And the kids are the only ones left. And they have developed these factions, basically these cliques in this town, okay,
So
of
it's like high
Glendale,
school.
California, where there's the jocks, okay, which are basically barbarians. You have the cheermazons, which are the cheerleaders. You have the geeks. You have the donut whores, which I don't know.
I feel like we're gonna get an arc based for the donut holders.
We have the FFA. We have the gamers, and we have all these
The
different
FFA Furry Fanatics United?
future farmers of America, my man. Um,
Oh.
and then we have the Kardashian group, which are, because we're in California, it's a group that whole lifestyle is based off the Kardashians. Um,
God, okay, this sound I'm gonna break it to you right now. This sounds like a really, really fucking terrible CW plot.
I You would think that.
I'm just the way you're describing. Now,
Yes,
I have not seen the show.
yes.
Okay, so I
You
cannot judge it. But the way you're describing it, this sounds like a really terrible, like
so
Netflix
that's
teen
what
drama.
that's what I thought on the first episode, right? And so it's basically he explains all the different areas, and then he has these rules to the apocalypse that he really throws out, because he breaks his own rules because he realizes his rules were wrong, over the course of the show. But ultimately, he I just gotta explain the first episode. So he's back in time, right? Well, not back in time. He's in the post-apocalyptic world, and he's talking to her, and he pulls up to his house, um, and where he's been staying, which he's basically like Ferris Bueller has collected all this shit from the post-apocalyptic world. Like he has Tide Pods just because he has Tide Pods. He has giant Ninja Turtles all over the place. Like he's been collecting shit. So he goes out and is explaining post-apocalyptic stuff. Comes back and to his apartment, and a so the animals have been radiated by the nukes.
Figures.
Uh, Pugs are giant. So there's a giant ass pug. Bert had burst through his garage and is just tearing up his whole house. right? And so he's like, fuck, I like that place, right? And then it cuts back to the pug. He's like, yeah, that used to be a pug. And it's basically just a giant pug. And he's destroying shit. And then it just pops a shit right in the fucking garage. It just shits all over shit. And he's like, well, I guess I gotta find a new house. So he leaves and he finds this church. He's like, huh, okay. And then he looks and he's like, shit, somebody's already first claim. And he sees basically this golf cart with like a wheel on front, like one of the equipment with nails and all, just to stop the ghoulies. But he hears someone yelling for help, so he goes inside. And young and behold, it's the it's the golf team. Okay? The golf team has kidnapped this girl who he thinks is his girlfriend from before the post-apocalyptic, because he is still looking for her, and it's been 6 months since the bombs dropped. Okay? So he's looking for her, and he thinks it's her in this, in like the confessional that they've turned over in the golf team. It pulls out golf clubs with different like weapons attached to the golf clubs. He's like, and they're like, all right, you just need. Here's the thing about the golf team. Their names: Harry, Barry, Larry, Terry. They make it a joke about that, right? So the golf team's like, all right, dude, you're gonna be our slave, and the black kid's like, nope, we're not using that word, and they're like,
let me pull up our office of PR.
and the head of the golf team's like, so what should we call him? And an indentured American. And the black guy goes, yeah, yeah. So they're like, all right, you're coming with us. So they stick, and the guy Josh, he's like, nah, I'm not going with you. And he has, so
I just love his response. All right, you're coming with us. Nah, I'm good.
nah. So the dude goes, look, Josh goes, I'm gonna just save her, and I'm gonna be out of here, and because I'm just Josh. I'm Josh, right? And they're like, Josh who? Small Josh with the truck, gay Josh, the other gay Josh? Like, what Josh were you? And he's like, just Josh. And, so, the head of the golf team just goes and just flicks him off, right? So Josh, he pulls out his samurai sword, which he has named the sword to save Sam, or something like that, because his girlfriend's name is Sam Dean, okay? And he goes, all right, watch this, right? And then he swings the samurai sword to chop off the dude's middle finger, right? Nope, hits him right here and it's stuck in the bone. So he's moving the sword and the dude is just hooked to it. And finally, he's like, yeah, but look, I remember the principal said that you were allergic to peanuts, and I just made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with my sword. So the sword might not kill you, but the peanut butter will. So you better go find an EpiPen. So then the dude is freaking out and bursts through the confessional. What he thought was his girlfriend turns out to be the 12-year-old he used to babysit, which is Tiny Tina, okay? Her name is Angelica, but she blows shit up. She literally comes out of the thing with a fucking Molotov. It's like, alright. And so they leave, but of course, the golf team, they get out and they want to go after Josh and all. So they shoot a flare in the air to bring forth the other jocks from the high school, because the jocks base is the football field. Josh and the Angelica, they then run upon this guy named Wesley. Okay? He is a black gay samurai. who used to be one of the
Okay,
jocks.
no. We're just gonna stop right there.
He has a moral code. He's a pacifist in the apocalypse.
You know, the more you explain this, the more this sounds like a really, really bad fanfic.
But it's not.
Apocalyptic
It is
fanfic.
so well written.
Okay, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay.
Of my own merit. Okay.
So then we get a flashback, right? The fucking principal, my man. The principal is played by Ferris fucking Bueller.
Oh my god.
Matthew
Matthew
Broderick.
McConaughey's in this?
Matthew Broderick is the principal. Okay?
Oh lord.
Sometimes the hero lives long enough to become the villain.
He's the villain?
Yes, to find out he is the villain. He survived he didn't turn quite into a zombie, right? Let me pull up one of his quotes, because to find out, so basically Josh and them and the gay black samurai and Tiny Tina, they go store up in the mall, which they find another adult who survived the apocalypse, their biology teacher, right? But she is basically a witch from Left 4 Dead, okay? So they hear her crying. This dude locks them inside of the mall with her. But to find out, she's crazy as shit, but she still has her mind to her.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. General thoughts.
I haven't even got to the best part.
Oh, I don't want you to get to the best part. I want you to just kind of let me savor this. So I have a few opinions of it so far.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it has good ideas.
Oh, you haven't
Okay.
even got to the best part.
All right. What's the best part of episode 1?
Oh no, I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
Oh no, I want to watch this. Okay, I don't want.
So if I'm gonna rate this show,
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving this show a fucking 10.
Okay. So.
Okay, so let me just give you 2 quotes from the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I told you Matthew Broderick is alive. He is eating kids. That's how he's surviving. He is eating kids. He has become a cannibal. And when he is confronted, right, he's still himself. So he puts on a cardigan to fry up this boy like a pig. Like, he has a boy strapped to a pan with aluminum foil around his legs like he's a fucking pig and an apple in his mouth, right? And Josh, he confronts him. And Matthew Broderick literally says this, because Josh is like, "You're a cannibal, right?" And Matthew Broderick's like, "Look, no. I tried to be nice. I was the principal for 20-some years. Okay? The apocalypse happened, and instead of being positive and nice, you guys had to go all Fortnite and start killing each other, right?" And so Josh goes, "Well, you're a cannibal. You're eating kids." And he goes, "No, I, for example, now self-defined as a compulsive bi-pedophiliac." And I'm like, huh. While mind you, he has a whole kitchen laid out, and he's just cooking. Another quote is from Tiny Tina, okay? Because he looks back at something, and she's like, "No, that's just nostalgia, right?" And she says, "Nostalgia is like having sex with a hooker and pretending she's your prom date when you know full well she's a hooker and you're gonna get herpes and die."
What?
Nostalgia's like having sex with a hooker and pretending
I know
she's
the
your
quote.
prom date when you know full well she's a hooker and you're gonna get herpes and die.
So back to my this goes back to my original thought. I think with this show, there's some really good ideas.
Yeah.
I think that it's bogged down by its genre cliche.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's aiming more towards kind of that
So
teen
it is.
demographic.
It is.
Okay,
Um.
and I think the problem with that show is that the Fortnite quote is a perfect example of it could be a really smart and creative show, but then there's also that network or writer who's like, yeah, but you're dealing to like the teen demographic, so like
But that's the thing. It's on Netflix, so they have more free range. And
just because you're on Netflix does not mean you have bipartisan
but
stance.
what I do like is they do twist stuff. Okay, so either the second or third episode, instead of Josh gets sick, okay, and Angela takes over narration, right? And she goes, enough of this Ferris Bueller bullshit. All right, I'm going classic Scorsese like Goodfellas and have a voiceover. So then she's voiceover for the entire episode. Another episode is narrated from a anime style because of it's taking place with the gay ninja. Okay, they do, and what I do like, they didn't just do the adults or zombies. They
Yeah, I'm getting tired of the whole
they
zombie
did they did
thing.
a twist on it. So they're not quite zombies, okay? They are constantly repeating the last thought they had in their mind. Okay? So there's still human qualities in them. And
I feel like with that you could expand upon that. There's sort of yes, they are zombie, but you could still somehow cure them.
yeah, and
So it'd be like they can come across like a mixture of both.
and
Like
the
they're pretty much human in them, but they're basically have zombie like
and that's
tendencies.
sort of what you get with Matthew Broderick and the teacher, because
Yeah.
they have elements of ghoulie in them, but they still are partially who they were
Well,
before.
I feel like this show could need that would probably elevate it to really good because this seems like a fun campy show.
It is.
Okay, it seems like a very fun campy kind of turn off your brain and just popcorn thrill ride.
Yeah.
I think what would make this show a lot better is if they had sort of an interesting villain. Like Matthew Broderick sounds fascinating, but he is not somebody to where it's like, okay, you know, you could get rid of him within a season,
Yeah.
okay, and that would be fine. But I have a feeling he's kind of going to be the like returning kind of person of like, we foiled you this time, but I'll be back, you crazy kids.
See, that's what I'm
You
not
know?
telling you. That's stuff I'm not telling you because I didn't want to spoil it for you.
Oh, that's fine. Let me watch it.
Yeah.
This is just my general thoughts.
Yeah. There's a lot that happens from after like episode 3 to the end.
That's fine. I feel like this show could use a really good villain to where you feel his presence,
Mm-hmm.
even when like they could do an entire episode without the villain, but there's still that overarching kind of
Sort of like the
thought
governor.
around them. Yeah, sort of like a governor. Or my best example is kind of Spike from Buffy.
Mm-hmm.
Spike is a great villain, okay, but he's also because he was such a popular character, they stuck him around, and he could still withhold an entire episode on his own.
Yeah.
Because he has that lovable charisma and charm that the audience falls in love with.
Yeah.
I feel like this show could use someone like that. And this would be a really good show.
Yeah.
Like it has potential. From what you're telling me and the stuff that it's there, it has its potential. It just needs that thing to kind of elevate it to the next
Yeah.
level.
And the fact that this show came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know. And it's not based off of property.
No,
It's not based off of any, so they don't have to worry about source material to pull from. This is all an original content.
and it's phenomenal. And I did look up on Twitter. Um, they took so they took some ideas about a season 2 to Netflix, and they're like, oh, they're
Uh-huh.
never gonna approve this. And Netflix like, I really like that. So I'm very intrigued on what is
So
ahead.
have they been greenlit
They
for a
haven't
second
been
season?
greenlit yet, but they have ideas for a season 2. That's what the
Okay.
writer's Twitter
How
account said.
has like, because you've watched it, obviously you've done some more research on it. How is kind of fan
So
reception
it's
towards
pretty
it?
big, in terms of people watching it,
Okay.
um, because Twitter has been filled, and a lot of it they're able to pull a lot of supernatural fans to this
Mm-hmm.
show.
Because Supernatural's ending, so it's
Supernatural's
kind of
ending, but also the main character, the main actor, who is in this. What's his name? Let me pull it up. Um,
I think this would also be good because this is kind of the tide over until Stranger Things.
yeah, Colin Ford.
Yeah,
He is the main actor. He plays Josh.
yeah.
He played a he for multiple seasons. He played a young, uh, uh, Sammy Winchester from
Okay,
Supernatural, and
okay.
his love interest is Sam Dean, which is the two main characters' names together of
Got it.
Supernatural. So you kind of have this, the Supernatural fandom, like, oh, this like you're paying homage to Supernatural here, and we,
To me,
it,
it feels more like it. To me, it feels more like a. It feels like a Borderlands kind of Mad Max, mixed in between somebody's like fan like pop culture fan script
mm-hmm.
of like, man, we've got the gay anime ninja, we've got the zombies, we've got the Tiny Tina who blows shit up, we've got the different cliques based off of high school,
Honest
you
to
know,
God, the Tiny Tina is the my favorite character of the entire show.
we've got cannibalism, we've got Left for Dead type of stuff.
You got 80s.
We got 80s, we've got Ninja Turtles and stuff. So it feels like that with like someone's like pop culture strip that was like, this is let's just shove this all in here.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for us today. I'm gonna be posting videos for Supergirl and Batwoman tonight, so make sure you watch those. And like always, we will see you in the next one. Later.
You got